Now, it's the new academic year, and whether your child is a new grade or repeating, it's important that they get the support at home to be the best version of themselves in the classroom. Parenting activist Victorine Mbong Shu joins me now to discuss how parents can boost their children's confidence and help them have a successful academic year. Victorine, many thanks for your time this morning. This is going to be a very difficult task, I assume, given the fact that we are living in the time of the pandemic and the schooling way has completely been disrupted. Both parents, teachers and students are having to learn a new way of doing things.
That is very true. Good morning to you and the viewers, and thank you so much for having me this morning.
No, please go ahead and just give us some insights into how we do this in the time of a pandemic, boosting that confidence when schooling has been disrupted.
Thank you so much. I mean, the pandemic, like you said, has caused a lot of disruption, and it has also caused a lot of bonding between families, a different kind of bonding, the bonding that has come with a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety. So basically, the return to school would not be the same as it has always been for parents who had dropped off children in the new academic year before today, or before this time of the pandemic. So what I would advise parents to do is to do it differently. I had given an interview last week, and then I shared that interview, and one parent said to me, even though I am a pro, my children did not behave the same when they went back to school. And my interpretation to that message was exactly what you have said. The times have changed. We have to start doing things differently.
Right, and of course this is going to be also involving the way in which they engage the content that they are learning at school, learning different study skills, for example. Talk us through that.
Yes, it's going to change given that. So basically, one of the things that came to my mind this morning was that when eNCA booked me, they didn't ask me if I have mobile data. And the issue of mobile data, the issue of social distancing, the issue of wearing masks, the issue of sanitizing, it's actually going to beat children's self-esteem. The reason is because we wear different kind of masks when we go to school, for instance, and children who cannot afford a good quality or what is seen as a higher quality of mask already have a poor self-esteem in them when they look at their friends that have a better quality of mask. And the reason I'm using a mask as an example is because if you look at uniforms and everything, the school system tried to align how children dressed. They wore the same kind of shoes, they wore the same kind of uniforms and things like that. And these new elements that have come in now have actually had a role to play in children's self-esteem and in how children look at the consumption habit of fellow children. Again, something as simple as a sanitizer. Not every family can afford to give their child a sanitizer to take to school. Something as small as a teacher walking into the class and not sanitizing themselves can cause anxiety in the entire group of children in class, and it can definitely affect their self-confidence.
No, absolutely. So then how would you say a parent navigates this pressure that they would obviously have, making sure that their child doesn't look too different in front of others at school? You made the example of a mask, but also the access to devices, tablets, laptops, which is what children are needing these days. And unfortunately, there are pressures on parents in terms of communicating to their children that we actually can't afford certain things.
It's incredibly hard for parents, and my husband and I are one of those parents who lost their income during this time. So we are a perfect example of those parents who have 4 children and who are struggling to make sure that their children fit into the system. But the one thing that I want to tell every parent, especially the parents who can afford, is that when they acquire these things for their children, they should think about the less privileged children. They should think about those who are in the same category with them, but cannot be able to live like them now, not because the parents are not hardworking or could not afford, but because the pandemic has come in and changed things for the parents. So for those who can afford, number one, that is what I advise them. And for those who cannot afford, as a conversationalist, I would fail if I don't say to parents, put your children down and communicate with them, but also communicate with the school. A few parents that I'm coaching have actually told me that their schools have understood and made some adjustment that suits their circumstances. But many more schools are not understanding at all. So, but do it. Talk to your school. Be honest about it, accept your situation, communicate with your children, tell them about the new normal, do not fake it. Another thing parents are doing is that they are dying inside. This is also a group of us parents who do not have self-confidence, because remember, you cannot give in your children what you don't have on you. So parents who lack confidence in themselves to survive, or who have lived a blanketed life, so a fake life, are finding it extremely difficult to open up to their family members to say the situation is different. I cannot afford this grade of technology, or I cannot afford technology at all. There is help out there, and children are extremely understanding as well if the parents open up to them.
We've run out of time, Victorine, but I must ask you this. As children study and get acquainted with the different lesson plans that are given to them at school, it's important for children to ask for help should they not understand. And it's also going to be very important for parents to check in on their children. Are you understanding the schoolwork? Are you comfortable? Do you need help? That aspect of communication is also very important.
That is very true, and it is even more important now than ever before. The reason being that children are also sensing the tense environment that we are living in. And remember, the parents' energy, the teachers' energy, the caregivers' energy get translated to the children. So it's very important that parents, particularly caregivers in general, and teachers, every adult around the children, soak into these children's environment and actually be a cushion for the children, because let me tell you, they are the future generation. The energy that we have today would carry them through for a very long time. So it's extremely important. And to the parents, you do not need to understand the subject that your child is studying in school in order to be supportive. You can either support your child directly or indirectly going through the teacher, So talk to your children. Just talking alone is a great support. What you can do is create an enabling environment. Create an environment at home that your children look forward to coming to, whether you are knowledgeable in what they are studying in school or you are not. Because another thing I've seen with my clients is that the parents shrink their self-esteem because of their lack of knowledge in what the children study. So use your teacher as a coach, as a way between you and your child.